how do we empower younger generation? How do we get the younger generation to think about science? Growing up, I didn't know what a scientist is. I had to ask my middle school teacher, what do you call these people who add things and find new things, and what do you call them? And she said, research scientist. And I said, yes, that's what I want to be, a research scientist. Then that made me realize that we lack role models. A lot of communities, a lot of families lack role models. I was the first to go to the university. And I was the first to, become a faculty member and professor, etc., right? So now the next generation looks at me and says, oh, I can do it. My foray into arts started with a DNA artist, an artist who used very simple system of generating these collages. For example, if you do a BRCA2 gene or BRCA1 gene for breast cancer, and she would just put GATC, all the 4 nucleotides in 4 different colors. And in this particular project, she had used roses. And at the end of it, this is a huge, massive collage. It's so attractive. And I ended up sitting in the panel to talk about her work to museum patrons who know nothing about science. But what that made me realize is that we need to have more conversation around the art. And I also believe really art is a way to tell a story. Otherwise, people don't want to hear about it, to have difficult conversations. And so that's a sort of what I realized when I got into the art world. So I ended up working with one artist as a docent, training the docents, then going into actually working with an artist to create genetic portraits. Basically, he created huge 6 feet by 5 feet portraits of the nucleotides. And then we had this open participatory exhibit involving my students and my entire team and the museum staff and the public. And it was amazing how little the perception of the public perception of science. We had an opportunity to change their perception for the better, right? Because fear is when you don't know what it is all about. Understanding creates tolerance. Understanding creates ability for the science to move forward. Otherwise, we'll have all the misinformation and et cetera. So that is where the art meets the science came along. And I was telling you how to have a difficult conversation about art. So then I founded an exhibit at my institution, Florida International University. We do this every year in January. And the idea is the topic changes, right? In one year, we focused on medical experiments, whether you use the bacteria or virus to inject into humans to see how they reacted. Those are very difficult conversations, things people shouldn't have done. But the public should know. But more importantly, at the university level, the students should know. So the art exhibit was, I was suddenly working with a group of students who never think about science, because I'm always working with students, and in the art college and the honors college. And then when the public comes to the exhibits and they go, wow, this happened? And what is this? Right? Then you have an opportunity to explain to them what's good science, bad science, what should be avoided, what should not be avoided. And for me, that was amazing, and I think art is a perfect form for communication. And it makes it also simpler, any conversation you have with the public with a piece of postcard, and that makes a difference. One project that of very important to our society, I was able to talk to a group of patrons of the museum on microbiome. So I just took images of, we microbiologists, we scientists in general, we create beautiful images that could be on somebody's wall. And I said, why can't we use these images to talk about a concept so foreign to them? And there are people who were lawyers there, and they were, all of them were non-scientists, and they still write to me whenever they read something. So, we thought about you, and what do you think of this, and what do you think of this science? And so at least we are engaging people, right? At the end of the day, these are the people who go on to recognize or to fund the projects, to fund future scientists. We need them in our fold. It's a nice surprise to get an award for things you do not expecting anything in return, because I strongly believe you pay it forward. And you do things for others, and you hope the others will carry on what you do. And so when then somebody turns around and recognizes what you do, you go, wow, I must be doing something right. All that was made possible by friends who realized that I have some potential, faculty, teachers who realized that I have potential, people I met at conferences made me realize I have potential. And they kept helping me and opening the door for me. And I'm very grateful for all that. And then I had the opportunity to train over 170 mentees who all helped me in my growth, in my journey to where I am. We all share a journey for a reason. And if I have an opportunity to impact, make a difference in that journey to another person, that's what makes me very happy. And I'm also grateful that I married a husband who was very supportive. I always say that he's the one who doesn't ask me question and says okay and accepts whatever crazy things I embark on. I can never repay those people. I can never repay their kindness, either in terms of finances, in terms of wonderful words, the comfort, the simple hug that made a difference. And I hope all those people I was able to touch will touch others and pay it forward.